I'm working on a reproduction of an Egyptian stool. This stool we saw in the British Museum in London recently. I was interested in the way it was constructed, so I took pictures, and I also found pictures on the museum website of the actual bench and worked up a SketchUp model as shown here. And it has this curvature in the seat in both directions here, which complicates the seat construction, but they've allowed for expansion and contraction, and also it looked to me like they had mortise and tenon joints that are pinned, as I've shown here. So this model has all the detail joinery, and I've begun the actual construction in the shop now. I have some of the parts done, but many are not done yet. Particularly these spindles. I had a little bit of fun trying to make that seat and that bench in green wood, freshly cut green wood, and I recently worked up this shaving horse, so this gave me some experience in creating all the mortise and tenon joints. But obviously this isn't the way the Egyptian stool was originally made, and that's what I'm doing here. In yellow poplar, the original piece was painted, and so I will paint this milk paint. It was painted white, and so I think yellow poplar works well for that kind of a finish. The SketchUp model produces these full-size templates, which are extremely helpful in something like this with all these shapes. And here is the shape. The final shape will be this dished out curvature down here, but I needed the rectangular shape to be able to work up the joinery. There are a number of mortises that will be in the opposite side of this upper rail here. And I need to have a rectangular piece to do that joinery. I've got the mortises down in the stretchers. The Egyptians staggered the lower joinery here of the stretchers so that the mortises, the tenons, did not interfere. The legs are tapered. Here is the full-size template of the leg. So one edge, the outside edge, is on axis, vertical, but the inside edge is tapered in two directions. So it's like making, for example, a cabriole leg where you bandsaw them in two directions. Now, this has a little sharp quirk up at the top, and that's a very fragile connection right there. So I did not bandsaw that shape all the way up to the top. I left a little bit of square material there so that that point does not get knocked off in the construction. So that will be finally shaped and faired after the glue up with the rails and all the parts. There we are. Okay, here's that top frame. The underneath side has the mortises for the spindles that will go in later. So the connections here are mortise and tenon joints. The final shaping of these seat slats will be this curvature here. I haven't done the other seat slats. That'll be soon. I'll be making those, but while this upper rail is rectangular, I'll create these mortises for those other seat slats. You can see the shaping that will finally be done on the top pieces. I have the spindles to create now. These are those mortise and tenon joints down at the bottom. And you can see the posts on the ends of these legs that go into the sockets in the rails here, just square sockets. And those will be pinned as was done in the original Egyptian stool.